We are good. Yeah, you are live. Okay. Hello, guys. Welcome to your Expert Tech Guide Q&A, episode 3. And for today's episode, we have Grito Talent Agency as our official sponsors. And I just want to give this quick information that if you're an African techie, if you're a professional techie, you should upload your resume for vetting on www.grito.africa to enable Grito Talent Agency in Spain connect you with international jobs. Yes, guys, so we go straight into our episode. I'm super excited about today's episode. And just so I add, please drop your questions and they will be answered. All right, share your questions. We would look forward to answering them. Let's go straight into what we have today. Our guest for today is Promise Chukwuenyem. Promise Chukwuenyem is a DevOps engineer at Product Madness in Poland. He previously worked at Sparkle Nigeria, Car Payments, Venture Garden Group, and many other companies. Promise Chukwuenyem is interested in cloud-native technologies and other DevOps toolings. He finds himself getting inclined each day to conversations, opinions, news, and courses about good governance. Yeah, that's true because I read the stories every now and then. Yeah. So Promise Chukwuenyem believes it's very pivotal in every facet of our lives. Yeah, so from infrastructures that affect our standard of living to politics that affect how we work to structures that affect our cost of living, I present to you Promise Chukwuenyem. I think a round of applause for that. That was a good one.
Hi.
Yeah, so welcome, Promise. And let's go straight into your story in line with how to land your first DevOps remote tech job. Over to you. Take it on.
Okay. Yeah, thanks very much. That was an amazing introduction for me. So I started out with my story. Currently, I work for Product Madness in Poland. It's a gaming company, a multinational company as well, and with offices in the United States, in UK, and in other parts of the world. I work as a DevOps infrastructure engineer right now, and I work with a team of engineers from different parts of the world. But it didn't start today. It started out back in 2016 when I started learning how to code uh, during my um, during my IT program back in school, and I got my first job in 2018 as a software design lead, and from then on, I moved on to become a software engineer. I worked at Venture Garden Group. And at some point, I figured that I had some interest in DevOps engineering. So gradually, I found opportunities there in the same company actually, and all I had to do was build out the skills I needed to pivot into such role, and that's how I got into it. And from then on, I've worked in Aka Payment. I've worked in Sparkle, and here I am now in Poland working for Product Madness. And it's been an amazing ride, but there have been a lot of concerns, there have been a lot of issues, but I'll say it's been amazing in general.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was precise. That was precise and straight to the point. Yeah, someone says I'm super excited to be here. Also, we see you. Yeah,
Oh,
good to have you. You're going to have a
yeah.
nice time. I tell you. Yeah. So please send in your questions, right? Because he's here to answer all questions. So I have a question outside the 5 questions. Now, when people hear
Okay, sure.
DevOps, a lot of people think DevOps means software engineering. That's one school
Um,
of thought. We have the other school
yeah.
of thought where some people think DevOps is it's really not tech, or how will I put it? It's
Yeah.
super tech.
Sure.
Yeah, some people think DevOps is super tech, right? So this is for me and to clear the doubts of so many out there too. Yeah. So
Okay.
in a nutshell, really, what is DevOps? Can you explain this to like a 10-year-old?
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
DevOps?
Yeah.
Is DevOps
Okay.
software engineering? Yeah, over
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah. So to be very precise, each time I tell people I'm a DevOps engineer, they tend to give me that face or that look like, what's that, right? And in clear terms, DevOps is about the website you're building. How do you make it available to everyone in the world to see? You have an idea like you want to build out the next Facebook, you want to build out the next Instagram, and maybe you can write the code for that, but that code resides in your computer when you're done writing it. How do you make that code available to the world so that people can access the new Instagram you build or the new Facebook you build? That's my job. Now, the value of that job is not appreciated if you just have a small idea. Let's say you just probably, or the idea you have is probably in still the idea phase or the MVP phase, where you're just dealing with 10 to 100 clients. The idea becomes, or the value becomes way bigger or way valuable, right? When you now have thousands of clients. So let's say you started out Instagram and you only had 5 to 20 persons using it. There, you can just put that on Google Hosts and save it there, and everybody gets to view it. But when you start getting thousands, millions of viewers, you realize that Google Hosts can't manage that anymore. You probably need tens of servers, hundreds of servers to scale this. At that point, you start looking at how better can I scale this. I need to get an expert. Let's say today we had 20 persons viewing it. Tomorrow we have 20,000 people. Tomorrow we have 20 million people. The server can't contain this amount of traffic. So you need an expert to come in and say, okay, you need to scale from one server to 100 servers. Let's say the traffic drops again, you will need to scale down a bit. Let's say we also need to start checking where people accessing our websites from. Maybe we have more people from the United States. Let's have servers in the United States more, right? So that these are closer to these people. And all of that. So when all those thoughts come around, you realize that you need to serve your new Instagram better to people, so that it's faster for them to access it and they don't have hitches when accessing it. You go to Facebook and then you open up Facebook. The moment you post, you can just view your post. It's because they optimized their processes in such a way that once you post, you're able to view it. And you have a lot of DevOps engineers working in the background to make this possible. And then you have a lot of automation as well. So that's what it's more about. So you need a lot of tooling, you need a lot of experience too. But then your experience as a software engineer comes into play when you're a DevOps engineer because you also write code as well.
Good. So your experience as a software engineer would come in handy as a
Yeah,
DevOps engineer. So this brings me, this brings me to the second question outside the 5 questions. I'm glad because I'm glad because you finished your introduction on time. So this gives us time to have like lots of questions. So now this brings me to this. So you said your experience as a software engineer will come in handy as a DevOps engineer. Now I want to ask, can non-software engineers perform excellently as DevOps engineers? For example, I know a thing or two that in DevOps engineering. In fact, I was speaking with a cybersecurity analyst yesterday, and she was trying to tell me how the agile methodology comes in and how the project management and the operation side of it. So I want to know, can a project manager, right, perform excellently, perform very well as a DevOps engineer without necessarily having a software engineering background or being a software engineer?
So the answer to that is the truth is you would not perform great as a DevOps engineer. So I mean, there are a lot of tools that you can use, right, to perform your tasks. There are a lot of GUI tools, graphic user interface tools that you just click through and you perform your tasks. But at the core of DevOps is automation, and at the core of automation is writing code, right? So uh, you can start out without a lot of software engineering skills, right? Where you write code, but for you to excel greatly, you must learn it, to be honest. So let me give an instance. I'm an infrastructure engineer, a DevOps infrastructure engineer where I work right now. And part of it is you have to write code. Not necessarily the code a software engineer writes, but infrastructure code. And those infrastructure code requires you to think through the code. How am I going to compose this? How do I plan around this code so that it scales? How do I
Mhm,
reduce? How do I get my code dry? So dry is a concept from software engineering. Don't repeat yourself,
mhm,
right? Where you write your
mhm,
code. There's also a software methodology which is around reusable code. How do I make my code reusable? So these are skills you learn as a software engineer that comes in handy when you become a DevOps engineer. So yes, you can start out without software engineering skills, but if you would excel greatly, you really need to start learning how to write code, start learning some software engineering fundamentals that would now help you scale better. And yeah, when we talk about other tools needed, I'll talk more about these tools as well.
Okay, great. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. I think that was a precise answer.
Yeah.
Please, guys, attach your questions. Send your questions in. We have lots of time for questions and answers because we have 30 minutes, and he finished his story in like 10 minutes. So we have lots of time. So please send in your questions. So let's go to question one.
Okay.
What key skills and technologies should beginners focus on to break into the DevOps field?
Yeah. Well, so when we talk about the skills, there are a couple of skills needed, right? Um, but the primary skill, right, is I think most of the skills are skills you need first as a software engineer, right? So as a software engineer, when you write code, you'll need to learn about Git, right? So you need to
Yeah,
learn
Git.
about how to version your code and all. So you need to understand how Git works and how Git versioning works, right? So that's
Mhm,
one. So you need to learn about Git, you need to learn about GitLab or GitHub, and also that's an important tool. You also need to get comfortable with the command line. That's an important
mhm.
skill. So,
CLI.
uh, and I usually advise people to become to use the Linux operating system more. So Ubuntu is the most user friendly one. So get more comfortable with Ubuntu, right? And
Mhm,
use the command line way more often, right? When you want to delete stuff, when you want to rename stuff, and there are common commands you can get to learn, right? Learn those
mhm,
tools. Uh, when you move on, you start looking at learning a programming language. You mustn't become a pro in the programming language, but there are programming languages you will learn that helps you learn about core software engineering concepts like don't repeat yourself, like reusable code, what are functions,
mhm,
what are modules. So you
mhm,
have programming languages like Python, you have like Ruby, um, you have Rust is also there, but I think the two that I've seen used more often is Python and Ruby. Go is also mostly used as well. Uh, then you need to learn about CI/CD as well. So continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment. There are a couple of tools that helps you achieve that. That help you achieve that. You have GitHub Actions. Jenkins is one of the first ones I learned about. Jenkins is very popular in that. Yeah, so you need to learn about Jenkins. And then the other ones to Octopus deploy and the rest of them. And then another stuff you'd also need to learn about is pick up a cloud platform and learn about it. You can start with AWS, learn about AWS. How does it work? How can I become good at it? So that's another one. There's this popular roadmap they have. I would share it in the comment section. It's called Roadmap SH dash DevOps. So
Okay.
I'll put it up on the chart. So that's something they can go through. So you just go to roadmap sh
Okay.
slash DevOps, right?
Okay.
Check it out. Learn the ones you can learn. And another very important tool, learn about web servers. Nginx is a good one to learn about. Learn how Nginx works, how to use it. Then you can start looking at tools like Docker and Kubernetes later on, and then Terraform as well. But these are core tools you need to know.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, but I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you um, call or mention JavaScript. I mean,
Yeah,
so are you putting that to the back seat?
not really, not really. So when it comes to automation, JavaScript is important, but automation JavaScript isn't used so often, right? JavaScript
Mm-hmm.
isn't used so often, right? So I would say, yeah, there are some automation you can do with JavaScript, but the core tools or the core programming languages when it comes to DevOps is um, Ruby, Python, and Go. Like these are the most. JavaScript is also important, right? But learn these three if you can, or one of them. They're very valuable. But like every programming languages follows probably the same paradigm where it's about functions, it's about while loop, for loop, and all of that. So the knowledge you get
Yeah.
here also transition to other programming languages as well.
Okay. Good. So I have one more question, but maybe that will come later. Let me take the questions from the comment section. It says this
Okay.
is from Virtual Tor King. It says, as an
Okay.
infrastructure DevOps engineer, what does your daily job routine look like?
Okay, I'll be very brief with that. So I work for a gaming company actually. It's one of the biggest gaming companies in the world. So essentially, we have a lot of game servers. We have people that are using these games, and probably sometimes there are issues. So my daily task is we have incidents occurring each time. So let's say someone was trying to, we have a lot of people playing a particular game, and then probably the traffic got so high at the point of scaling these servers to manage these new users. Probably the load balancer couldn't waited so much for these servers to like boot up, warm up, and all, and then we have high level of 500 errors or something. So they report that incident to you as a DevOps engineer, and you have to check what caused it, and then you have to propose a solution to ensure that it doesn't happen again. So my work is more about troubleshooting sometimes, and then sometimes also, oh, we need to set up an infrastructure for a new game that the engineers just built. So you need to set up the infrastructure for it. So you have to write Terraform. Terraform is a tool uh, for infrastructure as code. So what it does essentially is it helps you build set up servers. So we use Google Cloud Platform actually, but my main cloud knowledge is around AWS and Azure. But in my present company, we use Google Cloud Platform. So you use Terraform to write the code. Essentially, what the code does is it will set up the servers, to set up the load balancers, and the host name and the things for you, and then all the infrastructure is in place. And then you have some other code that you also write to deploy the code that the engineer built to these servers. So, and then you also have meetings you attend to talk about some issues that came up, to
Mm-hmm.
talk about new projects, and also essentially that's what it's more like for me in my day-to-day work.
Great. So you interface a lot with the cloud, right? Whilst
Yeah, yeah,
troubleshooting.
yeah. My interface, and then sometimes too, they build out. Let's say you had the previous release at a 5.5, and then the engineers, they add some new features, and then they push out the next release of 5.6, and they're like, hey, we want to deploy this. Like, okay, sure, you help them deploy that. And then they test and things are fine. And then you guys are good. Yeah.
Great. Great. So there's more of real-time communication. Real time
Yeah, of
on the
course.
fly.
Yeah. And you also need to, learn how to communicate and communicate fast too, because for every downtime, a lot of users are affected, and that's a lot of
Mm,
companies also losing as well. So yeah.
all right. Thank you for that. I think that answers your question. Virtual talking. You can drop in the comments if that's a holistic answer. All right. The next question says, this is from mking underscore the greatest. How do I get remote jobs as a data analyst? Is a data analyst a DevOps too?
Okay, so I think I'll talk more about this when I talk about how to
Yeah,
run the
yeah,
job as
yeah.
a DevOps. I
Okay,
think I'll talk more about this. But then,
okay.
a data analyst is not the same as a DevOps engineer. They are really different apart. So a data analyst is about so look at it this way. You have a company that deals with a lot of data. My company will deal with a lot
Mm,
of data, right?
mm,
And then with data, you're able to forecast, you're able to predict where is the next wave of revenue coming from. Are we making a lot of progress with this game? Let's say we had a new
mm-hmm,
game that we just launched. Are we making a lot of money from this game? Are users playing this game? How much time do they spend playing this game? Do you think we should continue with this game in the near future? Do you think it's really worth it? So all of that data, once you gather data, that data is how the data analyst helps you gather this data. They use a lot of tools, and then they do some form of analysis around this data that they gather. So they do some there's what you call ETL, so extraction, transformation, and I can't remember the last one, but it's called an ETL process, right? So they gather this
mm,
data and then they analyze this data. With that data, they're now able to predict or to tell you that we're performing fine with this game. We're not performing fine with this game. We should proceed with this game. We should put in more money into this game. No, we shouldn't put in more money into this game. No, we should look for the next new thing because this is not making us money,
mm,
right? So those are kind of things that the analyst works around. There are some other intricacies too around it, but it's different from a DevOps engineer.
mm. Great. It's different from a DevOps engineer. All right. We're having a lot of questions coming, and this is just brilliant because this show is for you guys. So let's take your questions from the comment section. All right. The next question is from People and Fashion. People and Fashion says, I didn't hear you say anything about PHP. Do PHP developers have a place in DevOps?
Okay, so to be honest, like I said, every knowledge you get from the knowledge you have as a software engineer, irrespective of the programming language, would come in really handy, really valuable as a DevOps engineer, right? Um, so let me make it more precise. As a PHP developer, transitioning to DevOps, right? Um,
Mm-hmm,
you already understand conditionals as a software engineer. You already
mm-hmm,
understand functions. You already understand modules and all. You already understand the dry, don't repeat yourself, reusable code, and all of that. When you come into DevOps, the let's say the company you're working on, the programming language they might be using more often is Python. It will be
mm-hmm,
easier for you to pick up the Python language within a short time because you understand PHP already. And it will be easier for you to understand how to use Terraform because you already understand PHP very well. So I don't think you should put yourself in that box of saying, I'm a PHP developer. I think you should just have an open mind of saying, okay, I might embrace another new programming language, but then I already understand how software engineering works because I'm a PHP developer.
mm. Awesome, awesome. And I think just to add too is that I think you should understand the concepts behind programming and not just writing code. Concepts like data structure algorithms.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. If you understand that, it's a family, it's a broad family, and then it's like how you have a family and children. So PHP is a child, JavaScript is a child, Go is a child, Ruby is a child. Yeah, but then
Yeah,
you
exactly.
understand that. Yeah, just go to.
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
so the next question, I hope that answers your question, people and fashion. You can give a feedback in the comment section. Let's go to the next question because we have lots of questions, and this show is for the those of us online right now watching. So let's just try to answer your questions.
Okay.
Okay, the next is from Upono Obot. Says,
Uh,
what are the expectations in terms of projects and a portfolio?
okay, in terms of project and a portfolio. So I've been in several interviews, right? And I would say the interviews became tougher for me when I moved abroad, right? Because these people, the first set of questions they're asking you, it's about what you've done. They are more interested in your experience first. And then with your experience, they are now looking at places you've worked and all. So they're asking you questions like, what is the most tasking project you've been on? They want to see how much experience you have. They want to see how
Mm,
much, yeah,
mm,
yeah, how far you've gone with your skills.
mhm,
So I would say as much as possible, get involved in projects and not just get involved, be a pivotal team member on projects,
mm,
right? Understand how it was built, understand how it's set up. Try to lead some processes yourself because
mm,
most of these companies or these interviewers, they like people that take initiatives, right? Try to take initiatives as well. So work on tasking projects, understand those projects. Uh, I was on an interview few about 2 months ago, right? And what the interview was more interested in is what role did I play in the project I was part of, right? So let's say you tell the engineer, oh, you were part of the team that deployed Facebook. That's interesting. So what part did you play? So they are interested in it because they want to be sure that you played a pivotal role in that, right?
mm,
And it becomes of more interest to them. So and then in terms of portfolio, as you work on these projects, right, put them in your portfolio. I worked on this, and this was what I did in this project, right? This was how I contributed to this. And I would say, like, work on as much projects as possible because the more you build your portfolio. I had a company I applied for some years ago. They never looked at never looked at my application. But years later, they reached out to me again that, hey, are you available for a job? And I guess they looked at my profile again and they realized, okay, we think this person has the experience we need for our roles at this time. So build out your portfolio with the projects you work on, and always keep them up to date.
Oh, awesome. So build out your portfolio, build out your portfolio. Yeah, look out for roles and take, not just look out for roles, become an active participant in projects. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So because we have we are pressed for time, but man, like we're having good reviews today. I knew this section will be fire, right? So I don't know. I'll beg us to add like maybe let's say 10 more minutes, right? So we can answer like maybe 3 more questions, right? Yeah, so we'll
Okay.
just add 10 more minutes, or let's just do to 1:30. Yeah, yeah. All
Okay.
right. So Anthony Udiabala is sending a shout out. He says, "I hope this section is recorded. Bless you, promise, for making out the time for this section, and thanks to the organizers. Thank you, Anthony Udiabala. We see you. Yes, yes, yes. This section is recorded on Plotstock Ltd YouTube page. Yeah, it's just there. Just go to. I'll drop the link in the comment section, and you can go and watch the previous episodes 1 and 2, and subscribe, of course. Turn on your notifications. Next week, we're having someone from the aviation industry, a techie in the aviation industry. So he's going to be telling us how to get started as a tech professional in the aviation industry. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff we have for you guys. So thank you for your goodwill, Nicholas, Anthony rather. Yeah, I thought to just talk about that. All right, so let's go straight in so Promise can take care of the questions before time. All right, so we have question 2.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, how can
Mm,
beginners build a relevant portfolio or showcase their skills to stand out to potential employers?
Uh, okay, so this is a bit tricky, right? But I'll answer it from my own story, right? Uh, what helped me so much was actually being out there, right? I was out there and I was part of multiple communities, right? Initially, I was very involved in the Ruby community, right? So Ruby Nigeria. So a clear one. I joined the Ruby community. I started out, I organized an event back in school. It's called RubyConf or Ruby Conference Nigeria. With that event, I was able to meet um, other persons in the Ruby community in Nigeria, right? So I became a part of them. I became part of the organizers for Ruby Conference Nigeria. So it was an opportunity to meet other people, right? And at that point, I wasn't really skilled, to be honest. But then I was already networking with a lot of people. That opened up other doors too. I was attending a lot of meetups too. I was part of I can't remember the name again. I was part of multiple meetups. I attend some
Mm,
online, I attend some in person and all. My profile was everywhere. My profile was on GitHub. My profile was on LinkedIn. My profile was on what's this other startup? Was on a lot of places. I was active
mm,
on Twitter. I was active on a lot of places. I was just everywhere. So I think
mm,
what happened was after I got my first job, I was part of a lot of WhatsApp communities. My first job actually came from an ad I saw on one of the tech communities, and then I applied for the role. After a few weeks, I was called, and then I got the job. That was back in Owerri. And the other job I got in Lagos, to be honest, I didn't apply for it. So it was my profile that was on one job recruiting site, and they were looking for a Ruby developer. So one of their clients reached out to them, hey, we're looking for a Ruby developer. And they're like, oh, I think we have one on our profile. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then they checked, and then they found my name. They just called me, hey, we're looking for you. We're looking for you. Yeah, available. Like, oh, yeah, sure, yeah. I came. I didn't really do well in the interview, but then I was the only person out there that they could see was a Ruby developer. So they gave me the
mm,
chance, right? And
mm,
then
mm.
from there on, I just grew, and then that's the whole story. I would say aside, I would say all the other jobs I've gotten, even my current job, has either been the recruiter reaching out to me on LinkedIn or a recommendation from a
Mhm,
friend. The ones I
mhm.
applied myself, I didn't get them, to be honest. So, so all the jobs I've gotten from then on has actually been either a friend, hey bro, I have a job, are you available or something,
Yeah, yeah,
or a
yeah.
recruiter reaching out to me on LinkedIn, say, hey, I like your profile and all. So I would say be available on every place, right?
Mm.
Facebook, everywhere. Let people just know that this is what you do, right?
Too, yeah,
Um, Back
yeah.
then in school, people call me Ruby guy because everybody just know I do Ruby. So
Ruby on Rails.
yeah,
So,
I do Ruby on Rails. So it was in everybody's ears that this guy is a Ruby developer, and I wasn't really good, but then they just knew that
yeah,
about Ruby, just meet Promise and all because he's so enthusiastic about Ruby. So you could just reach out
exactly.
to me about Ruby, and then like, oh yeah, I think I can do it and all. So that was really something that was really helpful to me. And up until now, I still update my LinkedIn profile with a lot of information about myself, the skills I'm building, the certifications I've gotten. So in essence, be available on every platform as
Every
possible.
platform.
Update them. But the platform I've found the most successful for me in my career has been LinkedIn, right?
Yeah,
But
LinkedIn.
then,
LinkedIn.
yeah, for LinkedIn right now, there's a lot of people there, so you need to like make yourself available, comment on posts, connect. So one very important skill I also found out is I connect a lot of HRs. I connect with a lot of
Mm-hmm,
recruiters. These people are the people actively searching for people,
mm-hmm,
right? So you give them an
mm,
opportunity to
mm, mm.
look at profile. So they're like, okay, we're looking for a DevOps engineer. This guy's a DevOps engineer. I think he meets what we're looking out for. Hey, are you interested in the role we have in the company, right? So I do that
Mhm.
a lot of the time, even up until now. And I have a lot of recruiters coming to look at my profile immediately and saying, okay, how we're looking for someone like this, right? So it's something that's very important. And yeah, then you have ChatGPT as well. Use ChatGPT to write, to put
Mhm.
together some words about your profile that will make it more enticing for employers. Yeah, so yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's really something you need to do.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah. Yeah.
get involved in communities. Let people
Mm,
know.
mm,
Yeah,
mm,
yeah,
mm,
yeah.
mm, mm. Yeah, I mean that's like I mean that's like a holistic answer. Holistic. Show yourself, put yourself out there. And the thing with this is, just to add to what he also said, the thing with this is try to balance showing yourself with putting in the work. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
very
a lot of
true.
people,
Very true.
yeah, very important. You know, a lot of
Yeah,
people
very
go
true,
out there
very true,
showing
very true.
themselves,
Very
and
true,
when
very
the
true.
opportunity comes, they really don't have stuff. Because I
Yeah, they don't
remembered
have
at
stuff.
Grito, yeah, they don't have stuff. I remembered at Grito, one guy, I'll withhold his name because he could be watching. You know, he was showing himself out, and we needed a developer for a project, and we reached out to him only to find out that he's actually a beginner. You see that?
Um,
But yeah, but in his post, he sounds like somewhere around an intermediate or a professional.
yeah,
You see
yeah,
that? So, and
yeah.
guess what? We came with timelines, giving him projects, we're patient with him, and he flopped.
I
He
see, I see,
flopped.
I
Why?
see.
Because he failed to balance his online show with his
Yeah, yeah,
offline work.
yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah.
important. Online
Very
show,
important.
offline
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
You need
yeah,
to.
yeah, very
You need to.
important. Yeah, you need to put in the work. Actually, you need to put in the work. You need to put in the work. Yeah, exactly. You need to put in the work. And just to add to, I had two opportunities to back then when I got the job in Owerri, right? I was supposed to leave Lagos to go to Owerri, and then my aunt was like, "Oh no, you shouldn't leave the graduate training stuff you were doing." But it was something about networking. So the job I got in Venture Garden Group, if I had stuck with the job as a network engineer, they wouldn't have considered me because it wasn't in line with what I was currently doing.
Mm,
So uh, know what you want, right? Know what you
mm,
want and go
mm,
for it, right? Know what you want and
mm.
go for it. It's very important.
Exactly. Know what you
Yeah.
want and go for it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So in 8 minutes, let's see how we can take the last three questions in eight
Okay.
minutes. Question three says, yeah, we have like two more in the comment section. We'll just round up with that. Let's see how fast now we can go. What
Sure.
strategies can intermediate professionals use to transition from traditional IT roles to DevOps positions?
Yeah, in a nutshell, go to roadmap sh/DevOps, right? Look at the skills you can acquire. There's a lot of skills. I talked about them. Get comfortable with the command line terminal in Linux operating system. Get comfortable with Git and GitHub. Get comfortable with understanding how Nginx works, right, as a web server.
Mhm.
Get comfortable with a cloud provider, right, like AWS. AWS is the most popular one. Azure also, a lot of companies abroad now use Azure, but you can start with AWS, right? Get comfortable with the programming language, start building projects, to be honest.
Mm, mm,
Um, to be honest, it's difficult right now to
yeah.
actually get through, right? But it was also difficult when I started. So just try,
Mm,
make yourself available, right? Tell people this is what I'm doing. Find a community. There are a lot of communities out there. Meetup.com, you go to meetup.com, you find a lot of communities. Be part of them. You find people that are willing to help you, support you, that probably even in the same level you are or the same phase you
mm,
are. You guys can come together and push yourself. To be honest, there are a lot of jobs for DevOps engineers, but it requires people with more experience. But you can push through, to be honest. You can push through. It just
mhm,
requires
mhm.
a lot of effort and determination. If you don't have that effort to put in that determination, find a community. They are going to push you, they're going to encourage you. Meetup.com, like I said, is there to find people, like minded people that
Yeah.
would help. True.
Good. So I just dropped in the comment section, join meetup.com around you to join the community
Yeah,
around you.
true.
All right.
Right.
So the next question, very quickly. Question 4 says, in a remote work environment, what collaboration tools and practices are crucial for DevOps teams?
I would say for DevOps teams, we use a lot of tools. So for communication, there is a Microsoft Teams, there is Slack. I think those are the two major ones people use. Teams use
Mhm.
Slack or Meetup or Microsoft Teams. Other tools. Other tools. What other tools do we use? I think that's the two common tools we use. Okay, yeah. For video calls, we often use Zoom for meetings. Yeah, we often use Zoom for meetings. For other collaboration, we use Jira. We use Jira as well. But Jira is for project management. So you're able to like put together the projects, and then you have sprints where you plan your sprints. You have like 2 week sprints or so, and then each person has a task they have to perform, right? And then you pick up your tasks. Some companies use Azure DevOps for that, right?
Yeah.
You have Azure DevOps board for that. So some use Azure DevOps board for that. So different companies use different stuff. So essentially, project management, Jira or Azure DevOps
Mhm.
board, all the tools. There is Trello.
Yeah.
There's this one, that one like by the yeah. There's this or that one. I can't remember the name. But there's Trello. There is some people use what's the name? I
Monday.
have
There's
Yes,
monday.com.
we use Monday exactly,
Yeah.
exactly for that. Then for communication, they use Slack, they use Microsoft Teams, and then for video calls too, some use Microsoft Teams, some use Slack. Most times I use Slack for huddles, right? Then for meetings
Mhm.
too as well. Yeah, so pretty
Awesome.
much are
Awesome.
the tools you can get comfortable with for collaboration.
Awesome. 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 All right.
Um,
The last question, 5, and then we take the 2 last questions in the comment section, and then we'll call it a wrap. Yeah. How do
hmm.
seasoned professionals stay updated with the latest trends and and advancements in DevOps while working remotely?
Yeah, very first it is LinkedIn is a place you find people, and you find what people are learning, what to learn about, communities you can join. And then you need to take certifications, right? Write certification exams. Right now, I have about 5 certifications I need to like update, and some I need to
Mm,
even write and all. So I'm trying to find time to do that. So the good thing about certifications is like when I renewed my Terraform certification, I learned a few things, a few things like I didn't know about Terraform, but it was at the point of renewing the certification that I learned that, oh wow, this is something I never knew about, right? So gain certifications, right? They are very
mhm,
important. They give you access to so many doors, and then you come
mm,
into the room and then you're able to tell who you are if you're perfect for the job, right?
mm,
uh,
mm,
my chances for most jobs increased with the more certifications I gained, right? So
mm,
it's very important. And
mm,
be part of different communities to go for different tech events, right?
mm,
Something I also found very valuable too. I also became very active on Stack Overflow, right? It's also a place where you share the little you
yeah.
have with people and you tell them, okay, you also help answer different questions as well. And funny
Mm,
enough, some of my answers I come back to them sometimes when I
mm,
have it.
mm,
I try to come back to
mm,
them. So LinkedIn is there, Udemy is there for you to learn new skills and take new certification courses. LinkedIn Learning is there, learn about new skills and certifications as well.
mhm,
The LinkedIn community is there, be part of it, see what other DevOps engineers are doing, what are they learning, right? Are they writing books? Most of my friends are writing books right now, so I'm really way
yeah.
behind, right? I'm really way behind. So
Yeah.
yeah, some of them are even anchoring multiple events right now. So
Mhm,
that's something we need to start taking hold of. Uh, I found something very important too. Soft skills are very important, and it's something I'm also learning and trying to build upon. So it's important as much as the technical skills are very important. The soft skills are also very important, right? So
Yeah.
just be out there, be on the lookout, be on the lookout, and you'll really see what's happening. What's the next phase for me? Where should I progress to and all?
Mm. Awesome. Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. What's the
Yeah.
next phase in my career path? Awesome, awesome. So I think we're on the last lap, and so this is the last question you take
Okay.
before we call it a day. It says here, from Virtual Talking, how is it easy to break through into the DevOps role now, since most interviews are experience based? So in like 60 seconds, you
Yeah.
answer
Okay.
that.
Yeah. This is a tough one, to be honest. Um, I found that something very important is being start out with volunteering, right? Um, you can find a DevOps engineer. I've had people I had some projects and then I outsourced to, right? Sometimes when I'm very free, when I'm very busy, right? Just I talked to someone and I said the easiest way to do this is join like a WhatsApp group where you have DevOps engineers.
Hmm.
You can reach out to all of them individually. I'm a DevOps engineer. I'm starting out. If you have any projects, these are the skills I have. This is how I want to build. If you chat up with 50 to 100 persons, you'll find maybe two or three persons that are going to be interested to say, okay, bro, I have something like this. Maybe you can start with this, or I have some time for you, right? But it's not like there is no direct answer to this. You just
Yeah.
have to like get out there, try so many things. Since they are experience based, you need to build your experience. So the ways
Hmm.
you need to build your experiences will be part of projects. So reach out to other DevOps engineers. On LinkedIn, you'll find thousands of DevOps engineers, right?
Hmm.
Reach out to them individually. It's you have to put in the work, right? You have
Yeah.
to put in the work.
Yeah.
Reach out to them. Some of them are not going to find time for you. Some are going to find time for you. Those that find time for you, try to be sure that you'll make them see that the time they find for you, it's
Mm.
what it's right. On WhatsApp, reach out to a lot of them, and one or two will find time for you. And before you know, you're working on some projects. You add it to your resume, and before
Hmm.
you know, you are working on way more bigger projects.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much. Promise. Like, this is super
Yeah.
exciting episode. I mean, like, one of the most exciting episodes yet. So I want to say a big thank you for finding out 47 minutes of your time on your Expert Tech Guide Q&A show. I want to thank you and thank every participant for showing up and asking your questions. And I hope we were able to answer your questions. All right, guys. So this is where we draw the curtain on episode 3 of your Expert Tech Guide Q&A series. So I want us to quickly subscribe to the channel and share. You can come back to watch. We have episode 4 where we'll be talking about, like I already said, we're inviting a software engineer at ValueJet Airline, yeah, on how to get started on your first tech role in the aviation industry. So, guys, I think this is where we would say goodbye for now, and we'll see you in episode 4. Thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you, thank
All
you.
right.
Cheers,
Thanks, everyone.
guys. Bye,
Bye.
bye, bye,
Bye. Bye.
bye.